there may be 2 or 3 types of creator suns in outer space. More about this later. We'll be out there. And one of our jobs will be to compensate outer spacers for the fact that they can never experience evolutionary growth, such as we have experienced. I believe there will still be finite reality, because there's finite reality in Havana. But evolutionary experiential growth will no longer be attainable. Absonite growth will begin. That's a rough inventory. What will these outer spacers be like? Listen. Can you imagine 2 Havana natives speculating on what super universes are going to be like before Grand Fanda ever got there? They know about the super universes, but they've never seen an imperfect being. All they've seen was born in perfection. And I don't believe a Havana native could imagine an imperfect being. He had to meet one. I don't believe that we can imagine the nature of an outer spacer. Let's consider this whole question of creator suns and creative spirits. You might put down a couple of references. Page 235, paragraph 4 speaks of more than 700,000 creator suns. Page 1299, paragraph 5 speaks of well nigh 1 million creator suns. There's an equal number of creative spirits, aren't there? Well, let's do some thinking. We know that there are exactly 700,000 unions of days. One is created to function as the Trinity ambassador at the court of a creator sun. We know that the plans of the architects of the master universe provide for precisely 700,000 local universes, because we're told that each local universe embraces 1/100,000th of the power charge of the super universe. The exact number of inhabited worlds is a little indeterminate, but the number of super universes is not inexact. It is precise. I mean, local universes. But we've got more than 700,000 creator suns. We've got well nigh 1 million of them. And there's absolutely no indication that they are of fixed numbers. I don't see that the Universal Father and the Eternal Son ever will stop conceiving identical thoughts. And every time they do, another creator son is born, and another creative spirit differentiates within the infinite spirit. So, there isn't enough room for all the creator sons in the 7 super universes, is there? And this means that when we go into outer space, there are 2 kinds of creator suns that are going into outer space. There are master Michaels who have had the experience of functioning as creators in the present universe age. And there will be creator sons who will have their initial function as creators in the next universe age. And there may be 2 kinds of these creator sons. Consider type 1. A creator son now in existence, but who is destined not to be able to function as a creator in the present universe age. Type 2. A creator son who is born in the next universe age and who also functions in the next universe age. So we could have three types of creator sons. Those who were born in the present age and who functioned as creators in the present age. Those who were born in the present age, who had personal memories of the present age, but who did not function as creators. And those who were both born and functioned as creators in the next universe age. How big is the first outer space level? Well, it's just beginning to wind up now. They're pouring concrete out there. They haven't opened up the subdivision yet. It's laying sewers. And already there are 70,000 aggregations of matter, and each one is bigger than a superuniverse. They're going to become tremendously bigger. If there are 70,000 aggregations of matter, then and 700,000 creator suns, it suggests to me that each one of these aggregations will have assigned to it 10,000 master molecules. I think of these master molecules as being senior to and supervisory of those creator suns who have never yet functioned. I conceive of two levels of creator activity. All molecules are the same in nature, as all thought adjusters are identical in divinity. But the sovereign of Nebadon is something different from what he was when he came out from paradise. His nature has been augmented by experiential additions, right? It is in this respect that the pre-supreme molecules will forever differ from the post-supreme molecules. Whatever experience the post-supreme molecules have, it will not involve participation in the growth of the Supreme Being. We will have two different kinds of molecule suns. Not different in original divine nature, but quite different in acquired experiential nature. Does this make sense? If the creator sun and creative spirit of Nebadon sometimes trinitize an equal creator, this being will be expressive not only of their paradise divinity, but also of their experiential growth, right? These post-supreme creator sons and creative spirits who never functioned as creators in the superuniverses may sometime also trinitize a being. But it will be a different kind of a being, won't it? Let's follow a local universe mother spirit out into the third outer space level. I mean the first outer space level. She and her creator consort have been commissioned to function as creators out there. Can she create seraphim?
I should think so.
I don't.
Why not?
Because she's no longer working within the growing Supreme Being.
Yeah.
Universe potentials have changed.
They contribute too to the Supreme Being.
She is the same as the creative spirit of Nebadon, but what she's got to work with is different. I think she'll create ministering beings, but I don't think they'll be seraphim. I question that seraphim will be creatable after the present universe age. Do you see how different it's going to be? We blandly assume, for example, that things which we see are universal, and they aren't, any more than air is universal. We know that if we go far enough off the surface of the earth, we run out of air. But we accept the Supreme Being as being a universal reality, much as we accept the planetary atmosphere as being a universal environment. The personalization of a creative spirit will be somewhat different out there than in here. She'll go out into outer space as a second stage spirit, becoming a third stage spirit when she gets out there. But her achievement of personality must be something different from what it was in the present universe age. Her nature is the same. The environment is radically different. Hence, the experiential factor of growth will be radically different. Sometimes wondered if God the Sevenfold will remain God the Sevenfold, or will God the Sevenfold articulate additional levels? Will God the Sevenfold become, just to speculate boldly, God the Tenfold? Who knows? How many levels of creator sons will there be? At least 2, possibly 3. This seventh level of the total deity function is formidable, isn't it? Do you notice how this level sort of starts real absolute and swings down and comes back real absolute? Can you think of anything which parallels that? Let's take a look, just for comparison, at universal non-spiritual energy systems, physical energies. This thing starts out with something which they call absoluta, space potency. And then it evolves into something called segregata, primordial force. And then it evolves into something called ultimata, emergent energy. And then it evolves into something called gravita, or universe power. That's matter as we understand it. And then it begins to swing back towards something absolute. Because in Havona, they speak of energy as triada. And up on Upper Paradise, in connection with the transcendental peoples, there is a form of energy known as Trinosta. And then the energy of Paradise itself is known as Manota. And it's pure energy. And the only way you can tell the difference between Manota and the spirit associated with Paradise deity is to give it a different name. Paradise material energy and Paradise spiritual energy are indistinguishable except by name. Isn't that interesting? That's the same sort of swing that we're encountering here in the 7 levels of total deity function. Of course, you well know there's an 8th level that isn't listed here. That's the absolute level. Let's consider how big is this master universe. I wanted to figure out how big the first outer space level was. I'm intrigued by the fact that they have 10 times as many architects as they do for the 7 super universes. But if you take the number 3 in relation to the number 7, you don't get a true estimate of the difference between the size of Havona and the size of the 7 super universes, do you? I know that there are 70 aggregations of matter out there, but they are already, each one of them, larger than a super universe. It's more than 70 times as big, isn't it? It's bigger, and more than 70 times bigger. All right, what do the papers give us that we can reason with? On page 360, they give us the radius of Orvandan. It's 250,000 light years. That's not the absolute radius. It can be off somewhat. But it's the distance from Urantia to Uversa. And we're told that we're out on the edge of Orvandan. So I'm going to assume we're at the edge, knowing full well that we're not quite, but close enough for this calculation. I'm going to assume that if it's 250,000 years in from the outskirts of Orvantan to Uversa, it must be another 250,000 years from Uversa in to the inner margin of Orvantan. What I'm seeking for is the transverse diameter of a donut. You follow me? Where the hole is Havona. So, I'm going to assume that the transverse diameter of the donut, which is the 7 superuniverses, is 500,000 light years. And for conceptual purposes, I want to give that a scale value of 1 inch. I can't think of 500,000 light years. Gee whiz, the distance between the Earth and the Sun is what, 15 light minutes? These are years. But visualize the donut. I got a donut which is 1 inch thick through the dough. Now, you pardon me, I have to kind of read this because otherwise I can't remember it. It's too intricate. The question is, I want to know what is the diameter of the whole donut. I got the diameter, the transverse diameter of the dough, but how big is the hole? We have no information on this subject. So I raise this question, can we ignore the hole or not? I think we can, because I think Havona is very small as compared to a superuniverse. Let's reason now. Havona has got to have enough volume in space to contain 1 billion worlds. Forget the 21 satellites and the dark islands. But the 7 superuniverses have 7,000 billion inhabited worlds. There are 7,000 times as many inhabited worlds in the superuniverses as there are in Havona. And this completely ignores uninhabited spheres, suns, dark islands, architectural spheres. Gee whiz. Just for example, the number is worked out in here. All the projected local universes and their component parts were established, there would be slightly less than 500 billion architectural worlds in the 7 superuniverses. There are 500 times as many architectural worlds in the superuniverses as there are in Havona. I'm referring to Jerusalems, Edentias, Salvingtons, Uversas. 500 billion architectural worlds, just slightly less. Listen, in case you think these inhabited worlds are any criteria of how many space bodies there are, at the end of the paper on the 7 superuniverses on page 182, they make this statement. The grand universe number of your world, Urantia, is 5,482,337,666.
In what aggregation?
Is the registry number on Uversa and on Paradise. Your number in the catalog of inhabited worlds, and I suspect they're registered in frequency, just as they are in Satania. We are 606 of the system of Satania, which means 605 worlds developed human life before us. We were the 606th on which human beings evolved. That determined our number. Now that's a big number, isn't it? But listen to the next statement. I know the physical sphere registry number. In other words, they've got all physical space bodies registered, inhabited or uninhabited. But it is of such an extraordinary size that it is of little practical significance to the mortal mind. It's an altogether bigger number. So when I say that, when I reason here that the 7 super-universes based on inhabited worlds are 7,000 times as big as Havona, that is a major understatement. They're altogether much bigger, aren't they? And these worlds aren't moving at random. They're moving in a linear procession in 7 circuits. It takes more room out here for the helter-skelter motions of Orvantan as compared with the regular, orderly motions in Havona. I have the belief that the central creation figures in at probably 1/100th of 1% of the total volume of the grand universe. One 1/100th of 1%. Or the relationship of 1 penny to $100. I think such a small percentage of such a large volume can be cheerfully ignored. I think the hole in the donut is so small that we can say, we can calculate without worrying about it. So, I'm going to assume that the diameter of the whole grand universe is twice the transverse diameter of Orvantan. The first universe age is the Son in partnership with the Father. They did the planning. If you go back to the 0 age, there was no conjoint creator, any more than there was a Havona. Of course, this is a misnomer. But conceptually, Havona was planned with the Father and the Son. The Infinite Spirit didn't plan Havona. The Infinite Spirit came into being by executing the act which was planned by the Father and the Son. Now, in the second universe age, now, the relationship is between the Son and the Spirit. Do we have the Universal Father on Salvington? No. We have His Son and His Spirit associate. The Spirit, in this age, sustains the relationship to the Son, which in the previous age the Son sustained to the Father. Do you get that picture? Here's another parallel. How did the Infinite Spirit achieve personality? By the act of the creation of Havona. Prior to Havona, the Son was a person. But prior to Havona, there was no third person of deity, was there? I always cringe when I say that because there never was such a time. Let's consider the 0 point, not age, but the 0 point in terms of the local universe of Nebadon. What do we have? Well, we have Michael. And Michael is very much personality, isn't he? Michael had a long universe career before he ever came out here. We don't know much about what these creator sons do. But we know that they work on the 4th circuit of Havona. Let's get some references here. Yes, page 293. 4th circuit of Havona is sometimes called the circuit of the sons. There are 7 worlds in this circuit on which the reserve corps of the Paradise Michaels maintain special service schools of mutual ministry to both ascending and descending pilgrims. Remember, the descenders are Paradise citizens. And it is on these worlds of the Michael sons that the pilgrims of time and the pilgrims of eternity arrive at their first truly mutual understanding of one another. Page 250. They're talking about creature trinitized sons of mixed parentage who aren't even allowed to function in the present universe age. They're pulled into Vice-Charrington. These unique sons of the children of time and the citizens of eternity are held in reserve on Vice-Charrington, where they are engaged in the study of the concepts of time and the realities of eternity in a special sector of the sphere occupied by the secret colleges of the core of the Creator sons. They're just two casual references to what Michaels are up to before they ever come out here. Michael's creative consort came into existence concurrently with the appearance of Michael of Nebada, or of that Michael who was to be Michael of Nebada. You ever stop and think we don't really know his name, do we? Michael is the name of an order. What do you suppose they called him before they could call him of Nebada? That seems to be a technique which is followed. The Adam who came to our world was not called Adam on Jerusalem. But when he came, the original Adam of Jerusalem is an unborn being. The original Adam and Eve of Jerusalem are the personal beings created by Michael. All of the other material sons are their children, or direct or indirect. But when our Adam and Eve came here, they forsook their personal names, and they took the name of their order. Adam of Urantia. I wonder what his name was on Jerusalem.
We'll find out.
Probably yes. I'm sure he had a name. On the universe records, we do not receive a name until we fuse with our thought adjusters. Nevertheless, I'm sure we will be referred to by name. Andon and Fanta received those names somewhere on the mansion worlds when they fused with their adjusters, but they had names in this life. Santa Anne and Santa N. Well, at any rate, Michael's a person. But this creative consort of his is not a personality. She is a second stage creative spirit. And in the beginning, when the Father and the Son jointly conceive an identical idea, and that's the basis for trinitization too, incidentally, a Michael creator appears. And the infinite spirit, this act repercusses in the infinite spirit, because it is the nature of the infinite spirit to respond to any joint father-son plan. That is her nature. And something differentiates within the infinite spirit, and I would call it the capacity to cooperate with this creator son. And that's step one in the initial differentiation of a creative spirit. A creative spirit, I don't care how old she is, can't progress beyond the second stage, can she? Because if you'll flip the page, you'll see that the third stage can't be reached until she comes out here in time and space and begins to work, not as the mother of seraphim, but as a super power center. So, we've got an interesting parallel now. As you go down the 6 known stages of the evolution of a creative spirit, you discover she is becoming increasingly personal. She is becoming less and less of a focus of the infinite spirit and more a divine personality in her own name and right. And how does she do this? She does this by collaboration with the Creator Son in the perfecting of a local universe. And this is an exact parallel of how the infinite spirit came into being, except the infinite spirit flashed into being in eternity. You can't see it happen. But this is happening in time, and so it can be observed. A creative spirit becomes real as a personal being exactly as the infinite spirit became real as a personal deity through the completion of a creative act. Isn't that fascinating? The papers never quite say that she's personal. They tell us that Michael has always regarded her as a personality. They say that when she reaches the fourth stage of being, personal qualities are tremendously heightened. The creative spirit of our local universe is now in the fifth stage of being, because our local universe has entered upon its post-bestowal ages. When Nebadon is settled in light and life, she will be a sixth stage creative spirit. And then there's number 7, unrevealed. I can see it parallel too. Phonalators are sixth stage spirits. And the implication is we'll be 7th someday. My guess is we will become 7th stage spirits either at the end of the present universe age or at the beginning of the next universe age. What that means, I don't know. But we're unfinished beings. And of course, I think when we become finished beings, in one sense, we will merely discover that we are kindergartners in a higher sense. When a planet is settled in light and life, gee, we've made it, see? But then you discover there are stages of light and life, and you go right on progressing into the different epochs of light and life. The sun and spirit are collaborating in the present universe age, and this collaboration is not so much a paradise collaboration as it is a time-space collaboration. The union of the sun and the spirit is out here in the local universes, which are the evolutionary cauldrons. This is where it's really happening. Here, even the local universe rulers evolve. And let's consider the nature of the diverse evolution of a creator sun and a creative spirit. I think of the two courses of evolution as operating at right angles to each other. A paradise creator sun has no evolution of personality, does he? He is a person from the very beginning. His evolution is descending from God to man, touching various stages. So that his composite nature, when completed as a master sun, involves an intimate experiential knowledge of everything that is knowable from the universal Father to the life of a carpenter here on earth. He's got it in principle. He doesn't have to touch every level. This is not necessary. But he has covered all these levels in principle. No one can ever say to the sovereign of Nebadon concerning income taxes or family budgets, "Bus you dare, Charlie." You know? He's worked his way down. That's kind of an odd concept to us, isn't it? We have to work our way up. But this is true throughout the universe. Here, when a local universe mother spirit creates angels, there's 7 levels of revealed angels as we know them, from supreme seraphim all the way down the line. And these angels, some of them that are born as supreme seraphim, they have to work their way down to achieve these lower levels of function, just as those that are born on the lower levels have to work their way up. This is a little hard for us to understand because we are low men on the totem pole. And we start out as zygotes, fertilized eggs. And from there on, it's all growth. Michael's evolution is of a descending order, right? This creative spirit has an experiential growth that is at right angles to Michael's. She knows what it is to be an impersonal spirit at the beginning. I think she could visit the worlds of the eternal Son as a first or second stage creative spirit. She's not a person. And personalities can't visit those worlds. As Michael knows the descent from personal experience, from God to man, so she knows what it means to go from being an impersonal, creative focus of the infinite spirit to a true personality, a new personalization of deity. Between them, these two encompass just about all conceivable growth experience, don't they? The experience which Michael couldn't have, since he starts as a person, she has, because she didn't start as a person. Isn't that intriguing? This is a different type of growth entirely, which is quite foreign to our thinking, because we start as persons. Michael's growth is much more comprehensible to us than is Michael's vertical descent is more comprehensible to us than the lateral growth of the creative spirit. But between the two of them, they encompass about all of everything that could take place experientially on the finite level, don't they?
And it's all experientially, isn't it?
She did it. She did it.
I mean, that's the sum and substance of it.
Right, you do it. You earn it.
Sure.
Right.
Why, Bill, should the worlds of the eternal Son be non-personal when he is the personal being?
That's the limitation of the absolute personality. He can't create personality. Both the Father and the Spirit can. When we get into personality, we'll observe this. But he creates, and when he creates in solitary fashion, he produces other than personal beings. And these are the inhabitants of the second belt of Paradise satellites. Let's do a little thinking. What is the objective of Son-Spirit collaboration? We are now getting pretty near our thinking is now drawing to the pointing to the closing chapters of the present universe age. What are the Creator Son and Creative Spirit attempting to do? Well, obviously, their immediate job is to attempt to duplicate on a 1% basis what the Father and Son did in Havona. A local universe has 1% as many inhabited worlds as there are in Havona, 10 million in relation to 1 billion. They're going to do this in time. They're going to grow experientially in the process. When a Creator Son has finished his bestowal career, they don't call him a Creator Son anymore, do they? They call him a Master Son. At that time, he receives the title of Sovereign of his local universe. And he takes a new oath. First oath he took was not to assume sovereignty without earning it. Now that he's earned it, and they make him sovereign, they put a new restriction on him. He takes another oath. Not to do anything radically new. This doesn't mean that he can't continue to use creative imagination in the further elaboration of the plans which have been propounded. He's got 2/3 of the local universe ahead of him. There'll be further ramifications, but nothing radically new. Why? I've got a theory. I think a Creator Son is more than finite. And I think when he becomes a Master Son, he's got some super finite potentials that could operate. and they don't want them to operate in the present universe age. That's for the next universe age. And I think they just make sure by saying, now, look, keep these in reserve. When the Creator Son and Creative Spirit came out here in time and space, and when they had finished the initial work of whipping this local universe into shape, they engaged in their first creative act. And the product of that creative act was Gabriel. They put everything they could into Gabriel in terms of producing the perfect executive. I think of Gabriel as the prime minister of the local universe. Did they trinitize Gabriel? The answer is no. Gabriel is not the equal of the Creator Son, of the Creative Spirit. If he were their equal, he too would be a creator, wouldn't he? I believe that when the Creator Son and Creative Spirit have perfected this local universe, their function is, their required function begins to diminish. Let's stop and think. What's it going to be like when Nebadon is settled in light and life and Arvandan is settled in light and life? When the 7 super universes are settled in light and life? I'm not so sure that the creative Mother Spirit will need to minister mind to the inhabitants of these perfected universes. I'm not so sure, and Julia will like it in those days because you get your cosmic mind direct and it stays with you, see.
I don't like this one I have. I want a better one.
So do I. I think maybe the inhabitants of these worlds, far settled in the advanced stages of the 7th stage of light and life, maybe they can operate on the cosmic mind. If so, the local universe Mother Spirit's out of work, isn't she? In terms of mind. If death ever finally vanishes from the inhabited worlds, she probably won't have to keep on creating seraphim. Is Michael needed as a creator anymore? No. Creation is over in a local universe. Administration is what's required. And when a local universe is settled in light and life, its future administration is foreshadowed. Administrative duties are largely assumed by 3 excellent administrators. The Trinity Ambassador, the Union of Days, Gabriel, and his associate, the Father Melchizedek. I think in the next universe age, the age of the first outer space level, the 3rd universe age, I don't think there are going to be any creator sons or creative spirits in the local universe.